Every minute, 4 Indians suffer a heart attack, and increasingly, these aren't our grandparents. They are people in their 20s and 30s, fit, ambitious, and healthy. In 2023 alone, nearly 3,000 Indians between 18 and 30 years lost their lives to sudden heart attacks. Half of all heart attack victims in India are under 50, and a quarter are below 40. And I'll be honest with you, even I am 40 plus. Every time I saw another headline, another young man collapsing at the gym, another guy my age or younger dying while jogging or dancing at a wedding, I felt this mix of curiosity and anxiety. So, what is going on? Why is this happening so often? And could something happen to me or someone I care about? So I started digging around. I spent days going through medical research, expert opinions, government data, and even watching other YouTubers what they are saying and what they are not saying. And that's why I made this video. If you have also been wondering why young, healthy, working Indians are suddenly dying of a disease we once thought belonged only to old people, this deep dive is for you. In this video, we'll break down the science and the system behind this crisis. We will uncover how genetics, food, gym, pollution, stress, and even COVID 19 have quietly collided to make young Indian hearts fail faster than anywhere else in the world. And most importantly, we will look at what every young Indian can do right now to protect themselves. India is in the middle of a cardiovascular epidemic. The Indian Council of Medical Research says that heart disease causes over 28% of all deaths in the country, nearly double of what it was in the 1990s. And what makes this uniquely alarming is the age distribution. In Western countries, only about 23% of heart disease deaths happen before the age of 70. In India, that number is 52%. Hospitals are now reporting that half of their heart attack patients are below 40, and the Indian Heart Association has warned that Indian men experience cardiac events 5 to 10 years earlier than any other ethnic group in the world. This is not random. Doctors call it a multifactorial crisis driven by a dangerous mix of genes, food, fitness, fads, stress, pollution, and post COVID complications. So let's start with the first big picture of this puzzle, our DNA itself. Science has known for decades that South Asians are 3 to 20 times more likely to develop heart disease than most other people. Think of it like this: some of us are born with arteries that age faster. Research shows many Indians carry genetic markers that make the walls of our arteries inflame more easily and clog sooner. Our bodies produce less of the good cholesterol that clears fat and more of a sticky particle called lipoprotein A that builds plaque. Even worse, many of us have weaker sugar processing systems. 45% of South Asians carry 8 or more risky genes related to diabetes and heart disease, almost double of what Europeans carry. That's why someone who looks lean can still have fat packed around the liver and heart. Doctors call it the thin fat body type, on the outside fit, on the inside silent damage. And then there's what scientists call the thrifty gene effect. Our ancestors' bodies learned to store every calorie during times of famine. In today's world of food delivery apps and desk jobs, these same genes turn against us. Genes load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Now let's see how dietary habits are creating a catastrophe. Walk into any office pantry or hostel canteen. You will find exactly why our diets are failing us. The average Indian now consumes 58 grams of sugar a day, more than twice what the WHO recommends. That's about 12 teaspoons hidden in chai, biscuits, and energy drinks. Every sugar spike inflames your arteries and thickens your blood just a little more. Over years, those tiny injuries harden into plaques that block blood flow. Then comes the trans fats. In vanaspati ghee, packet snacks, street fried samosas, even though India technically limits trans fats to 2%, enforcement is weak. Small eateries still fry in the same oil all day, creating toxic compounds that directly scar the heart's vessels. And let's not forget ultra processed foods that now fill grocery aisles. A study in Kolkata found nearly 40% of young adults eat ready to eat food daily, and almost half are overweight. These foods are high in salt, sugar, and chemical fats but low in nutrients. And here's the twist most people miss. A massive 5-year study of Indian railway workers discovered that heart disease deaths were 7 times higher in South India than in the North, even though people in the South ate less fat and more vegetable oils. It turns out the type of oil matters. Seed oils like sunflower or groundnut break down when repeatedly heated, releasing oxidized particles that damage blood vessels. And then there's timing. Skipping breakfast or eating late at night confuses your body clock. It spikes sugar, raises cholesterol, and stops your heart from resting when it should. So, yes, diet is killing us, but not in simple ways. It's the sugar, the processed oil, the missed meals, and the food culture of convenience that together turn every meal into a slow motion heart attack. Then comes the gymming and exercise issue. You have probably noticed gyms everywhere. Every corner has a fitness influencer or a transformation challenge. And yet, more gym goers are collapsing mid workout. Doctors say 1 hour of heavy training can't undo 10 hours of sitting. The average young professional spends about a day in a chair, commute, desk, couch. That constant sitting stiffens arteries and raises blood pressure even before you touch a dumbbell. Then comes the other extreme, over exercise. If you push too hard, too fast, and your arteries already have tiny plaques, that sudden pressure can make one burst, blocking blood flow instantly. That's why so many deaths happen during or right after workout. The fix is simple but ignored. Get tested before training hard. A quick ECG, blood pressure check, and cholesterol test can reveal hidden risk. And then there's the dark side of gym culture, steroids and muscle boosters. A major study of more than 1,000 users found they were 3 times more likely to have a heart attack and 9 times more likely to develop heart failures. Steroids make muscles bigger but hearts weaker. They thicken blood, increase bad cholesterol, and can cause sudden rhythm failures. Even so called pre workout drinks can spike heart rate and blood pressure dangerously, especially in India's heat where dehydration adds the extra strain. The Punjab Health Ministry recently issued an advisory warning gym goers about unregulated supplements and hidden stimulants because a perfect body means nothing if your heart can't keep up with it. So, yes, exercise saves lives, but only when it's done safely, gradually, and intelligently. And here's something many people miss. Vaping and e-cigarettes aren't the safe alternatives they are being marketed as. Studies show that vaping increases heart attack risk by 56%. The nicotine, whether from cigarettes, BDs, or vape pens, damages artery walls within weeks, not years. It raises heart rate, spikes blood pressure, and triggers inflammation that accelerates plaque buildup. So, if you are trying to look fit but you are vaping, you are yourself working against yourself. We often talk about food and workouts, but most young Indians are slowly being undone by something less viable their minds and their environment. Think about the average weekday. Wake up to alarm, rush through breakfast or skip it, battle traffic, sit for 10 hours, meet deadlines, scroll till midnight endlessly, and sleep only for 5 hours. And this entire cycle repeats the next day. This lifestyle keeps the body in permanent fight or flight mode. That means higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. And cortisol isn't just about mood, it directly injures blood vessels, raises blood pressure, and thickens the blood, making clots more likely. A major study in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that young adults with depression or poor mental health have twice the odds of heart disease. Among those under 40, anxiety or PTSD increases heart attack risk by 58%. Depression also triggers a loop. You eat poorly, skip workouts, ignore checkups, lose sleep, each one multiplying the danger. It's a vicious cycle that plays out quietly in cubicles and bedrooms. Then there is sleep or the lack of it. Doctors now treat sleep deprivation as a full fledged cardiac risk factor. People sleeping less than 6 hours a night have a 20% higher chance of heart attack. Even one short night of sleep, say 4 hours instead of 8 hours, can push blood pressure up to by 7 points and make the heart beat faster all next day. Why? Because deep sleep is when the heart gets its downtime. At night, heart rate slows and the blood pressure dips about 20%, what doctors call nocturnal dipping. If you stay up late or keep checking your phone, That rest period disappears and your heart keeps working overtime. And then comes the killer you can't see, air pollution. In Delhi, the average air quality index hovers about 200. Fine dust particles called PM 2.5 are so small they slip into the bloodstream through the lungs. Once inside, they inflame arteries, make blood thicker, and can trigger a heart attack within hours of exposure. A rise of just 5 micrograms of PM 2.5 increases heart disease incidence by up to 1.5%. Cardiologists warn that even a single day of bad air can cause dangerous rhythm changes in people who already have mild heart problems. So, when we combine mental stress, sleeplessness, and toxic air, it's not just one enemy, it's a three front war on the same organ. Now, let's see how the after effects of COVID pandemic is impacting the heart. ICMR and international studies have confirmed that anyone who caught COVID, mild or severe, faces twice the risk of heart disease or stroke for up to 3 years after infection. So, if you were hospitalized, that risk can quadruple. How? The virus doesn't only attack the lungs, it can enter the heart cells directly through tiny receptors called ACE2. The invasion causes inflammation, which weakens the heart's pumping power and can throw it off rhythm. Scans of people who died of COVID have found traces of the virus inside artery walls, where it triggered swelling and clot formation. Even after recovery, lingering inflammation and sticky blood make future heart attacks more likely. And contrary to rumors, vaccines are not the culprit. Rare cases of temporary heart inflammation after vaccination, mostly mild, occur in only about 50 to 100 cases per million doses, far lower than the risk of the infection itself. So the lingering danger isn't from the jab, it's from the virus that changed how our hearts behave. So, what can we do now? Most of the damage is preventable. Start with sugar. Keep it under 25 grams a day, that's roughly 6 teaspoons. Check labels because sugar hides under names like syrup, maltose, fructose. Avoid vanaspati and repeated frying oils. Cook with fresh ingredients, vegetables, whole grains, lentils, nuts, fish. Traditional ghee in moderation is safer than reheated seed oils. And eat on time. Never skip breakfast, never dine past midnight. Also follow the WHO's rule. 150 minutes of moderate activity or 75 minutes of vigorous activity per week. Brisk walks, cycling, swimming. It doesn't need to be a fancy gym. And before starting intense training, get a heart checkup, ECG, cholesterol, and blood sugar. If you have a family history of health problems, ask for advanced tests like lipoprotein or HSCRP. They catch hidden risk early. Build workouts slowly, stay hydrated, and avoid steroids or boosters. And remember, endurance is healthier than extremes. Treat stress as seriously as cholesterol. Meditation, yoga, and breathing drills, they are not luxury rituals, they reset the body's stress circuits. Therapy works too. A few sessions can lower cortisol and blood pressure measurably. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. Keep screens away for an hour before bed. If you snore heavily or wake up gasping, get treated for sleep apnea. It silently strains the heart every night. If you stay in a polluted city, use an N95 mask or move workouts indoors. If possible, keep an air purifier where you sleep. Your lungs and heart share the same battlefield. Start heart screenings early. Age 18 to 25 should do basic cholesterol, sugar test, blood pressure, BMI. For ages 20 to 40, repeat every few years plus do an ECG. And after 40, yearly checkups and if needed, stress test. Your workplaces should also include health screening and counseling, not just insurance. Schools should teach kids how food and stress affect the heart. Cities need cleaner air, more green zones, and safer public transport because prevention isn't just personal, it's political. This isn't a niche medical issue, it's an economic time bomb. India's growth story depends on its youth because our youth are burning out. Every sudden death removes a parent, a colleague, a taxpayer, and a dreamer. And here's the uncomfortable truth, the data already tells us what to do. Eat real food, move often, sleep enough, breathe clean air, and get tested. But information means little without willpower, and systems that make healthy choices easier. Our hospitals are overwhelmed because our offices, kitchens, and cities are designed for convenience, not health. We glorify hustle and all nighters, then act shocked when the body protests. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. If 4 Indians have a heart attack every minute, then prevention has to become as common as tea or chai. So, why are Indians dying of heart attacks? Because genes built for survival met a world built for excess. Because stress became normal, sleep optional, and pollution unavoidable. Because we kept saying, I will start taking care of myself next year. But it doesn't have to end this way. Most of what's killing young hearts can be stopped with a little science, a little self care, and a lot of collective action. The question isn't why this is happening, we know that now. The question is whether we will act before another generation learns the same lesson in obituaries and headlines. 4 heart attacks every minute, the evidence is clear. The solutions are known, the time to act is now.